afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of RecruitMilitary Live, a continuing series of live broadcasts covering all things military transition, veteran employment, mil-spouse employment, and much more. My name is Lucas Conley, retired U.S. Army officer and former TAP program manager, here to share with you the ins and outs of navigating the turbulent waters of civilian employment. If you are in search of meaningful employment, then you are in the right place. Please visit rmvets.com/live to learn more. So, are you getting ready to transition or retire from the military? Perhaps you're a veteran or a mil-spouse looking to re-enter the job market or just take your career in a new direction. Has somebody told you that your network is your net worth and that if you're not networking, then you are not succeeding? Well, I'll tell you what, if any of these things is the case, then today's topic is one you're going to want to pay attention to. We're diving into digital professional networking. So I'd encourage you to stay on board for the whole show, and I personally guarantee you're going to learn something. We are joined today by two, not just one, but two amazing guests. The first is coming to us live from historic Richmond, Virginia. He had a distinguished career in the U.S. Army, culminating as a regimental sergeant major and the sergeant major of the Office of the Chief of Army Public Affairs. Since retiring, he has filled his time hosting his own radio show 5 nights a week on eagleonlineradio.com. He's also become a certified digital networking coach, helping people learn how to leverage digital social media for professional success. And if that's not enough, he's even taken the time to start his own consulting company. Now, the next distinguished guest we're bringing alongside is coming to us from the dark and misty swamps of Fayetteville, North Carolina. He started his career as a young Marine and went on to a distinguished career in U.S. Army Human Resources, culminating as the Director of Human Capital Management for U.S. Army Forces Command. Since retiring back in 2018, he's been working closely with transitioning service members to advise and coach them through their transitions from military service to civilian employment. He continues to do so today with his spare time and also in his role as project in the Project Management Institute. If you take nothing else away from this introduction, know that these two gentlemen are not only retired U.S. Army sergeants major, but they are both certified digital networking coaches. You are just not going to find that much expertise on any show, anywhere, in one place at one time. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Jose Velasquez and Matt Quick.
Woo, Jose!
Man, what an introduction.
If you don't feel good about that, you're not going to feel good about anything today. I'll tell you what.
Hey, I'm smiling all day long after that.
All right, gents, welcome to the show. And now that you've heard from us and who we are, all you folks out there in internet land, we want to hear from you. Hit us up in the chat window. Let us know where you're watching us from. Who are you with? Who'd you serve with? What's your status? Are you transitioning? Are you a veteran, a mil-spouse, maybe a caregiver? Something else we haven't thought of. And if you got questions, reach out and hit them with us. We'll try to get after them. We want to hear from you. All right, guys, there's nothing quite like a top 10 list. Back in the David Letterman days, I think it was my favorite part of his show. So folks out there, stay tuned for all 10. It's all worth your time. Let's dive right in. All right. Number one, start early, start now, start building your professional network. Jose, let's go to you first.
Absolutely. Yeah. Starting early. If you're within 2 years, it's always great to start about that time to get really serious about transition. And, if you're within those 2 years, then the right time is right now for you to get in on that. You want to get in early enough to develop meaningful professional relationships. LinkedIn is a great way to do so. And one of the great things about starting early is you don't feel that need to ask. You just feel the need to develop meaningful relationships, be of value to others, so that later, as you get closer to time for retirement or transition, you've got meaningful relationships and people that will go out of their way to help you because you've become their friend on LinkedIn.
Lucas, climb to glory. Jose took all my words. That's what happens here. But listen, again, don't be scared if you're, I'm in 2 years now. Get in there and start right now. Transition is a journey, is an adventure. Get in there, connect with the right people, wherever you're going to go, whether you go to Florida, Texas, whatever industry, whatever company, start connecting. And we'll show you today how to reach out to the right people in the organization. So yes, start now, start early, and don't be scared about it. And again, we're all here. We're all veterans. We reach out to us. We'll let you know that, hey, you know what, you're too late, you're too early. We'll let you know. Don't worry about it.
Matt, I'm already broke. Is this LinkedIn stuff going to cost me money?
LinkedIn is totally free. There are paid services on LinkedIn if you want to get there, but no, this is using LinkedIn. It's a platform. Here's a platform. Now, Jose and I do teach how to use LinkedIn, but with Jose's program, it won't cost you a dime. Mine either, because I like giving back. If you can add value to a network, you're already won.
Matt, you're all about the selfless service even after retirement. All right, let's dive right into number 2. Market yourself for the future, not for the present.
Dress for the job you want. You hear it all the time. If you want to be Batman, put Batman clothes on, put his belt on, drive his car. But if you're in the military now serving, it's okay to have your picture in a military uniform. It's okay, but smile. Be approachable. If you're an old CSM and we know we just always mean and stuff, smile. But when you get rid of the transition, change your photo to a job, the clothes you want to wear at a job. Have fun with it. Just don't let anyone tell you can't do anything. You can't do this. You can't do that. Those are called naysayers, and they are some of the worst people in the world because they will find a problem for every solution. Jose, what do you got?
Well, I would add to that. Absolutely. Dress for the job you want. And I would also say in your headline, I would encourage you to focus on the things you want to do versus the things you do right now if you're in the job transition area. So if you're prior to that and you are still representing an organization and you're not there to look for a job, absolutely wear your uniform. You're representing the Army. But as you're getting ready to transition, you're not representing the Army anymore. You're representing yourself. And so putting the clothes on that you would like to wear after, the uniform. And as Matt said, if you want to be, in a office setting, in a professional setting with a coat and tie, then that's what you should look like. If you want to be a tech person, maybe you'd wear what, Matt or I are wearing if you wanted to be a computer tech person. But definitely look like the part. And you will find that there are people out there that will notice and connect with you.
And you made a good point with a headline, Jose. Show your value. If your LinkedIn headline begins with transitioning service member, you're already losing. So get what value do you bring? Are you a program manager, a project manager? Are you aspiring to do something? What problem are you solving? A simple formula that I teach my people to use is I help X accomplish Y using Z. I coach people through career transition. I don't use Z because that's what we talk about, but I help X accomplish Y. Make that stand out in your headline, because on LinkedIn, your photo is so visible than your headline. People will see quickly, oh, Matt helps career transition. Oh, yeah, I do. And then they go down to the about section. That's later on, though. Hold on.
All right, absolutely. Those hiring managers out there, there's nowhere in their organizational chart is there a spot right above project manager that says transitioning service member. They're not looking to hire each other. They need a human resource professional. They need a project manager. They need a program manager. They need a supervisor. So let's understand what. Number 3, understand your brand. Tell me a little bit about branding, Matt.
So last night I taught a personal branding and networking class to women in cybersecurity. And so cybersecurity professionals kind of hold things back. They don't want their photo. They don't want their last name. But we work through that. So really, personal branding is really about who you are. I've got some notes here that I had last night, but it's really about your personality. Who you are. That's your brand. And if you're not authentic, you're already losing. Be authentic about yourself, and that way you don't have to remember things going forward. The last point I have, Jose, then you can take over here because you're much better at this than I am. But think about what you want to do. I was HR in the military for 25 years. I worked retention mostly in the last 15 years. But it's not what I want to do when I got out. So I rearranged my whole profile. to maybe optimize what it is I wanted to do. I wanted to take care of transitioning service members, not be HR. So I rearranged the whole thing. You wouldn't know I was HR and military if you didn't ask me. It's really buried down deep.
Jose, your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say, again, I absolutely follow absolutely everything that Matt said. I would also add that, one of the things that LinkedIn and every other platform have, right, is they're flat. They're two-dimensional. But when you start branding yourself, you become a real human being behind those words. You become three-dimensional in people's minds. They start getting to know you. And it gives you an opportunity to start focusing on becoming an I, a me versus a we and us, which is very difficult because the longer you've been in the Army, the more it's all about we and us. And that's right. That's the way to do it while you're in the service. But as you begin to transition, you have to become your own person. You have to go back to figuring out who you are. And when you do, that's who you become on LinkedIn.
A personal branding is really it's a pie method. It's your personality, your identity, and your expertise. If you can show those things, your personal brand really goes up. And quick point about social media. If you're looking to create a personal brand, I'm not saying LinkedIn is the only source you want to go to. It's what I use. But LinkedIn and TikTok are two of the fastest moving social media platforms out there for content creators or people looking to create their brands, because there's not enough content for its users. So think about it. If you're on TikTok or LinkedIn, you may see the same thing over and over again, or you may see posts from a week ago. That's because there's not enough content. So if you want to share your experiences, create content, your brand will grow a lot faster on LinkedIn and TikTok than it would on Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. All right, let's keep moving the ball forward here. Number 4, make meaningful connections. Jose, lead us out of the gate.
Yeah, this starts with, as I shared earlier, this starts with when you open up your LinkedIn account. If it's 2 years out, that's great. I mean, 3 years, 4 years, it doesn't really matter. You want to start as early as possible. Definitely if you're within that 24-month period, though. But it's really all about beginning to connect with people who have similar interests, maybe work in the same industries, have the same mindset. And how do you do that? Well, you start networking. You start looking at other people's content. And I know we're going to talk about engaging with content in a little bit. So, ultimately, the idea is to find people that do what you do or what you want to do, and developing relationships with them, being of value to them first, so that down the road, they can be of value to you.
Hey, fantastic, Jose. Matt, I heard somebody point to the trifecta: groups, company, and people. How do I find the right people at the right time?
So, Lucas, can we share my screen here? I'll
Absolutely.
walk someone through it right now.
Go for it.
Let me zoom in here. So if you're on LinkedIn, I've got dark mode on. So I learned about dark mode from Jose. So he still teaches me. We're both coaches, but he still taught me. I can still learn. I'm coachable, as they say. But you're on LinkedIn right here. Come up in the search. Let's just say you want to be a project manager, for instance. Bam, you type it in, project manager. And you click here to people, services, jobs, posts, groups, wherever you want to go to. We're going to people today. Now on LinkedIn, there's 14.6 million results for project managers. I don't think you have enough connection requests to really connect with those people. But most of the audience today is probably veterans transitioning, or someone that has some military expertise. So I'm going to go to all filters. I'm going to scroll down to past companies. I'm going to throw in here Army, Air Force. I'm going to add the Marine Corps, because the Marine Corps is one of the best services out there, one of the 6 best services out there. We'll throw in the Navy, because they own the Marine Corps. It's true. We'll throw in Space Force too, because they're our newest brand. And I'm just going down here and showing some organizations. These are organizations that the veterans come from. So 14.6 million users on LinkedIn, project managers. I'm going to filter these to show who has served in the military before. Show results. 115,000 project managers. That's a big difference, right? Now, if you're going to, let's say, Tampa, Florida, for instance, I'm going to go add another filter, locations, Tampa, Florida. We'll put greater Tampa area. Sounds better. Show results. So 115,000 down to 2,400. So if you want to get into project management, if you want to go to the Tampa Bay area, this is how you want to do it. Now reach out to Pierce here, and Pierce appreciate being on LinkedIn today. So Pierce has what's called a gold LinkedIn icon right here. That means he or his company pays for LinkedIn services. That means to me, you're probably on LinkedIn more often than, let's say, a non-paid member or premium service. So check him out here. He works at Parallon. Robert here works at Jacob. So if you want to go to a company, I'm going to click on his profile, see how active he is. We both served in the Army together. Good guy. And I'm going to hit connect. And I'm going to add a note. I'll say, hey, Pierce, great seeing you on LinkedIn. I'm looking to get in the project management field in the Tampa area. Do you have a few minutes so we can talk about the transition, your transition process? Have fun with it. And if you send out, let's say, 10 connection requests, if you get back four responses, consider yourself lucky. Focus on those 4 and not those 6 that didn't respond. That's how you want to really target down who you want to connect with on LinkedIn.
Hey, Matt, Lucas, can you bring that Matt's thing back up for a second?
I think he stopped sharing it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Here we go. Let's bring it up. Ready?
Right?
Here comes the
bring it
magic.
up, man.
Boom.
So go back to the search for the project manager again.
Go ahead.
Here's another idea, just to add to what Matt was talking about, is you want to develop relationships with people that have the most amount of connections with you, touch points. So Matt used the great example, Greater Tampa Bay, past companies. We go to past companies because you're not going to Army anymore. You're not going to Navy anymore. You're going to go do something else. But you want to talk to people who understand, who've been in your shoes, which is why Matt chose the other services. These are people who used to be in the service and are now doing something else. They understand your journey because they've been there. In addition to that, what I would say is maybe connections, to drill down on that 2,400, maybe you go to first and second connections. Now, second connections are, I call first, second, and third connections. First connections are people you're already connected to that have already accepted your connection request. So think of them as first cousins. You know them by name. You know what I mean? Second connections are, second cousins. And, maybe you see them at the barbecue every year. Maybe you interact with them here and there, but you don't see them every day. But they're people who know your first connections. So you've got that touch point. And then third connections are kind of cousins of cousins. And so, you got one from Zimbabwe and you got one from, France, and you've never heard of them before. And they only interact with you on ancestry.com or something. So don't focus on them so much. Focus on those second connections to build. And when you look at that, Matt, show results. We go from 2,400 to 1,000. Manageable. Now you've got people who know people who are in the greater Tampa area and who served in the military. More touch points, more chances that these people are going to want to connect with you.
Great, Jose.
That's fantastic. Now let's talk for a second about targeting, which happens to be number 5. Somebody told me one time, pick 10 companies. You can't target the whole world. It's not a shot. The shotgun blast is not going to work. You need to refine it down. Pick 10 companies or pick 5 companies. What are they talking about, Matt?
So really, you've got to focus on what you want to do. The days of I'll do anything are over. If you search LinkedIn for job, anything, I guarantee it won't show up. So think about that. So you got to think about where you want to work. So let's say you want to go to Tampa. You want project management. Now, which companies in the Tampa area do you want to work with? Oh, any company. No one can figure out for you because nobody wants that responsibility on their shoulders. That's on you. You've got to research. Talk to people in companies that are in Tampa area. Have those informational interviews. Just have, hey, Hey, John, how's the culture in Jacobs? How's the culture here? Have those conversations. What are the benefits? What's the salary ranges in the companies you want to work with? Have those conversations. As you transition those informational interviews, the actual job search may be a part-time job going into a full-time job. You got it. You got to take it though. But find, and I don't use 10, Lucas. I use 5. Pick 3 to 5 companies you want to work with, and stop thinking about the stars in the sky. Listen, Amazon's, Walmart's, those huge companies, they'd be great. But you've been a cog in the wheel, in the military wheel, for decades. Why would you want to do that again? Great. Some people want to. I understand that. But your immediate impact will be felt at a small or medium-sized company. And then those interview processes go from maybe 5 to 6 rounds to 2 to 3. So think about what size company you want to work with. And you can go with the Tampa Chamber of Commerce. They have lists of companies that are small, medium, and large. Go with them, have the conversations. But Jose, what else you could add to that? Because I try to take all your time.
Yeah, I want to let me go ahead and target Jose here. Let me dial in his front site post. All right. Who am I connecting with these companies? The COO, the CEO, the president? I mean, how do I know these 6-figure C-suite guys are going to give me the time of day?
That's a great question. So first, thank you to everybody who's in the comments, sharing thoughts and ideas. And thanks for letting us know where you're coming from. I appreciate it. Love it. I got some people who are in spots I've been before. Very cool. I hope that you continue to share your thoughts. And if you have any questions, I know that's not my job. That's Lucas's job, but I'm just throwing it out there. But listen, as far as targeting, what I would say is, use the search function. And as Matt showed you, when you go to the all filters area, you can also add a company name. So as you go through that process, as Matt shared with you, thinking about what you want to do and what companies you're interested in. Once you figure out those 3 to 5, go to that all filters and add those companies. And if you add first connections, you may have friends already that work at that company. It'll show up. And if you don't, at least go to first and second connections and it'll show, who's in that company. Engage with those people if they're already your first connections. If not, look for people that have a similar job to the one you want to do. And sure, you can reach out to the CEO and COO and see if they'll interact with you. It never hurts, and you should never be concerned about reaching out to people above you in what some people would consider, these people are up here in the stratosphere and they'll never talk to me. Civilian industry is not like the military. While there is a hierarchy, a lot of people are going to want to reach out to you, especially if they're veterans, and so, absolutely reach out to them. But I would say reach out to people who do the thing you do or you want to do, because they can give you direct advice. Hey, Jose, project manager in this company, this is what it means. You reach out to them and do an information interview, ask them for their time. And you say, okay, look, I'm getting out of the Army. I want to be a project manager. I'm going to be in Tampa. Man, you got the great job. You're doing exactly what I want to do. How do I get in there? Like, what should I expect? Is it what I think it is? And that person will likely share their experience with you because they want you to succeed. They're veterans. They want you to succeed, and they can give you additional information. And I'll tell you, Matt did that HR thing, and, HR is so humongous, and there are all these sub jobs. And, Matt looked across the board. Matt, I don't want to speak for you, but he looked across the board and made decisions based off of, okay, this is what this does. This is what that does. Some of that translates to the civilian world, but man, some of it doesn't. It's just totally different. The way to figure that out, talk to people who are doing the thing you want to do. They'll tell you whether or not it is what you think it is, so you can move forward.
Yeah, they might give you some information. What's that, brother? Go ahead.
Can I add a point? So,
of course,
going to the CEOs of companies, you probably won't reach the 400 to 500 companies eventually or upfront. But if you go to a CEO or an EVP of a small or medium company, and you follow them on LinkedIn, you're not connected, you follow them and you engage with the content, they may already know you. So reaching out to a CEO of a small company is probably easier. And if you really have that value they need and you show that value, they'll say, you know what, Matt, I want you on my team. Let's talk. And that talk is now a job offer. So don't be afraid of titles. We're all human beings. Some don't respond, some aren't active on LinkedIn, but if they are, follow them, engage with the content, get known, then reach out for conversation. Simple.
Matt, you bring us right into number 6, engage and share. I had a conversation with somebody one time. They said, look, remember, not every step up to the plate is a home run. Not every date results in a marriage. Not every conversation should start and begin with, hi, my name is, will you hire me? So talk to me a little bit, Jose, about engage and share and how that can and get the ball moving downfield, so to speak, towards your objective.
So, I'll tell you, Matt is the consummate expert on that. So, I'll defer some things to him. I'll just share my experience with engaging with content. Much like networking, engaging with content is where you become a real human being to the people looking at you. This is the opportunity to become who you want others to see. This is where you get the chance to be of value to others, maybe people that you don't even know. And so engaging with content, maybe it starts with liking things, and you become a serial liker, you just like, and that's okay. At least your name starts popping up. But what I'll tell you is, connecting with people, engaging with their content, at least with comments. Just share a comment. Tell people what you think about what they said, preferably something nice. If you really have some sort of additional information, or you have a respective or respectful, other opinion, that's okay. But remember, these are people that you want to engage with in a positive way. So if you can, I would say definitely look for opportunities to engage with that content so that they get to know you. It's exactly what Matt said. You become a known entity when you begin to comment on other people's posts. They start seeing your name. And now if you follow them and at some point you connect with them, they'll see your name and be like, oh, yeah, Matt, I know that guy. I've seen his comments before. They're much more likely to accept your connection request. And then finally, writing content. I know a lot of us are scared to do that, especially coming out of the military, because everything has to be perfect. Every word, cross your T's, dot your I's, and it better be, exactly what your hierarchy wants you to say. That's not how it is as you're transitioning. I'll stop there. Let it Matt do the rest.
Matt, I think there's still some meat on the bones for you to chew there, Matt.
Don't let perfection paralyze you. Listen, I'm a regular person. I have spelling mistakes because sometimes I pump a post out. I go for a run in the morning and I'm thinking about what I'm going to post that day. I'm like, hey, Siri, take a note. So then I pumped the post out that morning because I had a conversation that evening or whatever it was. And I've got spell mistakes, not a lot, but sometimes voice to text as a New Yorker doesn't always come out as you want it to be. So I have the spell mistakes and I get messages. Hey, Matt, this was spelled wrong. Cool. I have no, thank you. I'll go edit it. I edit it. No big deal, right? Perfection, don't let it paralyze you. And when it comes to sharing content, which really is sharing experiences, it doesn't have to always be military transition related. But in the military, especially leaders, you have a lot of things you can share. You've hosted town halls. You have all these talks. Share your experiences. Share an experience about when you overcame a challenge. Share an experience about when you helped someone overcome a challenge. Share experience where you went through a school that now relates to the job you do now. There's so many things you want to do. Share why you joined the military. Just share something and be consistent, because sharing information and being consistent builds trust. So trust requires action. You just can't sit back and say, you know what? I was sergeant major. I'm good. These job offers are going to come to me. It doesn't work that way. You got to really get in there. For me, like I posted this morning, Lucas, and I normally I get a lot of engagement on posts because I have fun with it, like McRib posts. I enjoy that. This morning's post totally flopped. Did I cry about it? No. I'll post again today, a controversial topic today. You'll see about it. So I'll enjoy it, but not all posts will flop. Don't worry about going viral. Viral posts mean absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. consistency pays off more than a viral post will ever pay off.
Awesome. Great. Jumping right into the next one, and we've touched on it. Number 7, ask for information or advice. Don't ask for a job. Jose, what do you think?
Absolutely. That goes back to connecting, following, engaging. You want to be of value to people first. And that starts with, when I teach people how to engage with just, engaging with sending that first connection request. As Matt showed you, you can add a message. You don't always have to. And I'm sure Matt will share with you, the difference in, who you should do that connection request with and who not. But what I'll tell you is when you do a connection request, don't say, hey, I'm Jose. I'm getting out of the Army. Do you have any jobs? Because the person's going to be like, oh my God, what, this guy just wants to connect with me because of, who I am in my business world. I don't know if I want to connect with this dude. But if you say, hey, I'm Jose, man, I'm a fellow veteran. I'm just getting ready to leave the service. Wow, you do this thing that I'm really interested in, or I read something that you posted and it was, it really struck a chord with me, and I'd like to connect with you and learn more as you post. All of a sudden, the person says, okay, hey, look, I'm a veteran too. I know I was there. I'd love to connect with this guy because I think I can be of value to him and he can be of value to me. At that point, now you are following that person, maybe connected with that person, engaging on their content makes you someone that's known and makes you someone that's bringing value. Again, meaningful relationships first, asking for things later.
Matt?
Jose, people don't know this, but when I first met my wife, I says, wow, will you marry me? It was that easy. And she said, yes, absolutely. Let's do this, right? That's false. That didn't happen. Those things don't happen. Well, sometimes they do. There is love at first sight, but I like to be wined and dined. I like to be courted. Show me that you have the value. So when I got with my wife, it took us probably a year to figure out, you know what? You ain't so bad. So now it's been 25 years and we
That's soon,
out
huh?
good. Yeah, no kidding. It took about a year. But think about that. When you connect with people on LinkedIn, ask them about how they got to where they're at now, a place where you want to go to. That way, they're the experts. They know how it is. But if you just go in there, if I go on like Tinder and say, hey, marry me, probably ain't going to happen, right? Swipe right. I don't know. Left. I'm not sure which one it is. I don't know. But go to a grocery store or Walmart. Hey, you look good. Will you marry me? Those things don't happen. It takes time. This is why, going back to the first part, you got to start early. So when it comes to recruiters on LinkedIn, recruiters don't necessarily need a note. Now, a recruiting manager may, a VP of recruiting may, but recruiters don't need notes, because if you connect with a recruiter, you're now in their network and you're now in their network. It's a mutual beneficial thing. So you being talent are now in their talent pool. They can reach out to you. And as they post content, jobs, opportunities, you'll see that. So recruiters don't necessarily need notes. Just hit connect, but engage though. And let's say if they post a great opportunity that just doesn't fit your need, but you know somebody that it might, send that to them. Hey, John, I this isn't for me, but I think you like this right here. That's how you truly network and utilize your network. Don't just discount that. Share those things with other people. It helps you and it helps the recruiter. Everybody wins.
Oh, absolutely. All right, let's jump into number 8 here. Number 8, leverage every tool in the toolkit. What else is in there in that platform other than just that search feature?
So if I can share my screen, Jose and I can talk through this again.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
So I'm back in the home screen, and I go to here, the jobs platform. Listen, the jobs platform is phenomenal. It's not just jobs though. I'm going to click on this right here. And over here, as I search for jobs, I can save the job. All my saved jobs are here now. I get weekly alerts on the jobs that I've saved. I can go see what people make. Okay, it's not individual thing. It's more of a range. So if people input their information there, it may show up here. skills assessment. These are things that you can do, tests. You can take mini tests to really increase your profile. Interview prep. Now, Jose, you know this is awesome right here, right? So interview prep is you come here and you can pick what's your greatest strength, for instance. So I can practice this. I can write a response or take a video, and I can send those responses to Jose, my career coach. Jose, what do you think about this answer? He can say yay or nay or try again. Why should we hire you? Right here, do it again. Practice and get feedback. Or scroll down. If you're premium, it'll show you sample answers. Here it is in a written form, or right here, video form. There's sample answers. So this is one of the resources that LinkedIn provides that is invaluable. Come back here. And do you want to talk about the resume builder and how to search, Jose?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the resume builder is terrific because it gives you an opportunity to create resumes ahead of time for particular jobs that you might be interested in. For example, we talked about, CEO. Yeah. You want to be a CEO?
Listen, I'm pretty bold, right? Let's give it a shot.
Let's do it. CEO, right? So you hit apply. And now what it does is it looks through your profile and basically creates a resume off of your profile. In addition to that, you get resume insights on the right-hand side. And what it'll say is, hey, these are the things that are on your resume that are good, positive, right? Found on your resume. These are words that people who are looking for CEOs would like. In addition to that, it gives you some suggestions. Hey, these are words you probably didn't add, but these are words that you probably should add. Hint, hint. Okay. So these are the things you definitely want to add somewhere within your resume, or excuse me, your profile, because they'll show up here. The other thing is
I lack, Jose, right?
Yeah.
I cannot be a CEO. I don't know budgeting.
You don't have budgeting, man. So you add those if they make sense, right? So you add that information. In addition to that, as you add the information that makes sense, what you'll notice is any information that you change on this page does not change your profile. This is designed for you to create and save a resume specific to CEO. And so you can make changes. And Matt, if you'll go up and hit show my profile at the top, preview right there. Now his profile is going to be like 10 pages long. We know that resumes, unless it's a government resume, which, guys, I don't know why the government make these resumes so long. But when it comes to private industry, you definitely don't want a 10-page resume. But you can quickly look through it, decide what things make sense for that job. Matt being a infantry, rifleman back in his Marine days may or may not be the skills that he needs to become a CEO in a particular industry. So he may be able to take some of that information off. He can make changes as he sees appropriate so that he can create a resume that's specific to the job he wants to do. Again, anything that you do on here is not going to reflect immediately on your profile. So you can save this, change it, save it. You can preview it. You can print it out, and you're ready to rock. Once it's saved, it's ready to go. Anytime that you need a CEO resume, boom, there it is. Project manager, boom, there it is. And you can just quickly type some things that are specific to the job that you're looking for, but they're ready for you. They are ready for you right on the spot.
Now, if you want to go over, let's say you want to be a project manager, for instance. So I'm going to go to the jobs platform, type in project manager. And let's just say you want to work with, I don't know, we'll see Jacobs right here. That's fine. Since you're in Albany, it's close to Lucas there. Click on this. Now in here, you'll see what's required of the job. Oh, look at that. Servant leader. It does exist. So you come down here, it tells you you can actually take some of these words, put it into your resume, not plagiarize, but borrow some of the words, use the language of the industry you want to get into. That way it optimizes your resume and or your LinkedIn profile. But come here and let's just say you want to work with Jacobs, for instance. So I want to come here and so I've got 45 connections in Jacobs. So I'm going to click on these guys right here and girls. And let's say I want to get a job there. Now it quickly searches people, my first connections at the company I chose. I can now reach out to these people, say, hey, information interview, I'm looking to get a job there now. If they love you, if like, you know what, this is the job for you, they can what's called refer you to the job, and they could get a bonus. This is where sometimes money speaks. This is why the spray and pray method of applying for jobs, this outdoes that any day of the week. And that's just one quick way to search jobs on LinkedIn. But you got to get on here and check it out. If you have LinkedIn Premium, if you scroll down on the job, you may get some insights down below here about the salary, where you rank in the information flow. There's so many things down here at the bottom that could be of assistance to you. So think about that the next time you're on LinkedIn. Use a jobs platform. It's a great tool, great resource, and it's free for the most part.
Awesome. All right. We got 2 more left, folks. Hang in there. We're almost to the finish line. Number 9, use the various platforms as a learning opportunity. What kind of learning opportunities can we find out there?
Jose?
Yeah, so use the platforms specific to the things you want to do. As Matt shared with you at the very beginning, we focus a lot on LinkedIn because it just happens to be our bread and butter. I personally don't think that there is another platform that brings people together as well as LinkedIn to provide them a professional environment for them to interact. And you can tell because a lot of times people will come up with some silly, post that really is, either difficult for people to appreciate or, is got, some sort of a, topic that is going to, develop into something ugly. And people will call people out, hey, man, that's not really appropriate for LinkedIn. Now, don't get me wrong. People can post whatever they want, but inevitably, people are really policing the page because they want to keep it professional and they want to keep it meaningful, which is awesome. So LinkedIn is great, but you shouldn't limit yourself. There are other platforms. By the way, there's also real life things like networking events that you can go to, engage with people. So it's not just online, but as Matt said, TikTok is a great way to look for short form engagement. If you follow them and then you follow a couple of cats as well, cat videos, that's fine too. But if you focus on people who are doing networking and job kind of positions, I think that you can engage there. But you don't stop there. I mean, go to Facebook, go to a number of others. Just have to cut through some of the silliness on some of the other platforms and really focus on what you're trying to do.
And one thing that I've learned on LinkedIn is really when to post and specifically how to post. I'm not well educated. I've got my bachelor's degree, but I read on a rudimentary or very basic level. I'm more of a picture kind of video myself. So I'll try to write on an 8th and 9th grade level. That way most people can read it. So I don't use big fancy words. I don't know them. I don't use them because I try to get down just to what it is. And you may think some of these things are silly how they're posted on LinkedIn, like one line of text, space, one line of text, space, but it breaks the message down easier so people can read that. And when it comes to, let's say, a hook on LinkedIn, a headline that makes you want to click see more, that helps your content in the algorithm say more people are clicking see more. So we're going to show it to more people. So your first 3 to 5 lines of text is how you want to entice people to click on your stuff and read it. So if you say, good morning, happy Tuesday, LinkedIn hard mode day 2 of 20, that won't get people to really resonate. You got to think about, I did the craziest thing yesterday. I can't believe it's happened to me. Check it out. Well, now I'm interested. Now I want to see what it is. But that's how to post. And when to post. I was told initially, only post in the morning. Never post on the weekends. I'm the kind of guy that says, I will do what the hell I want to do. So I post twice a day, and I specifically post on weekends. And a lot of engagements on weekends because people say don't post on weekends. Don't post. I do, more engagement. So find your own space. Find what works best for you. There's no science, algorithm. There's no science behind LinkedIn. Just post, share your experiences, have fun, engage with content, and your brand will grow from there.
Hey, and if I could add one more thing, Lucas, before we go, and that is simply that when you're writing, I would tell you, as Matt said, that hook is so important. I call it the Seymour effect. So if you're writing and you post it and then you see that your words disappear under where it says see more, a lot of times people just aren't going to, especially if the first couple of lines aren't interesting. Are they going to hit see more? You got to give them a reason to hit see more. That's why the hook is so important. So you got to keep your stuff short. And the other thing is look for visuals. You know, a lot of times a post can be visually appealing if you add a photo or a short GIF that makes sense for what you're writing. I'm a silly guy. I write a lot of silly stuff, trying to keep people motivated and that kind of thing. So I'll post some GIFs sometimes, a photo that makes sense for what I'm talking about. That draws people in. That in your hook will give people a reason to see more.
And yes, GIFs are professional too.
All right. I just try not to overuse the Ron Burgundy stuff. I've been told that I need to transition into the 2020.
Yikes.
All right. Number 10, the finish line, the big one. We've talked about what to do. Let's watch out for the what not to do's. Number 10 is keep it professional. Matt?
So what's that mean? What does professional mean? It really varies by person to person. One time I saw a scantily clad person on LinkedIn. In my newsfeed. I'm like, wow. To me, I didn't want to really see that. But what I saw was it was an OnlyFans page or person on LinkedIn that I wasn't connected to. One of my connections, though, liked or loved that content, that picture. So I didn't want to see that. So I just said, I told LinkedIn I don't want to see that. And if we can bring my screen back up, Lucas, I'll show you how that works. So very easy here, right? So Angela here, she's a first connection of mine, whereas Kevin isn't. He's a second connection. She celebrated his achievement here. So let's just say it's something you didn't want to see, whether it's political, whether it's, scantily clad people on LinkedIn. I'm going to click this ellipse up here. There's 3 dots. It's called an ellipsis. Click this. So if it's a content that I don't want to see, I can actually unfollow Angela. I can remove connection. I can mute Kevin for posting it in the first place, or I can hide or report this post. So when I click right here, I can tell LinkedIn I'm not interested in the author or the topic, or I don't want to see political content. What that does is that teaches LinkedIn what you don't want to see. The worst thing you can do if you don't want to see content is engage with that content. Don't do it. If you engage with content you don't want to see, LinkedIn thinks, my goodness, Matt wants to see more of that. Push more his way because it's engagement. So if you don't like it, report it, hide it, whatever, or scroll on by. That's what you don't want to do or don't want to see on LinkedIn. Now, for me, I don't post political stuff. But if you're in the political arena, post political stuff. That's just a rule that I have. But again, all these are individually basis. So think about what you don't want to see and don't engage with it.
Yeah, and always remember that your resume, your job interview, as some people have said, your job interview begins the moment a member of that company knows your name. And whether you are in a boardroom with a copy of your resume in your hand and your slick briefcase on the table, or you're sitting at the house eating some Cheetos and posting a few funny pictures to your favorite social media platform, you can bet somebody's going to look at it, somebody's going to watch it, and somebody's going to evaluate what you're sharing with the world long before they decide whether or not they want to write you a paycheck.
That's true.
Well, folks, I wish we could keep going. We could stay on this all day, and sure Matt and Jose would have a ton more stories and a ton more examples to give us, but we just don't have the time to do it. Gents, thank you on behalf of Recruit Military and for the folks that joined us today. Two fantastic retired sergeants major and digital professional networking experts, Mr. Matt Quick and Jose Velasquez. Thanks for being on the show.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you, Lucas.
Thank you, Lucas.
All right, guys. And if you haven't already done so, you see that little link that's going across the bottom of the page. Take the time to hit that website and you'll locate over 450,000 job opportunities from 16,000 employers in our network around the world and around the corner. www.recruitmilitary.com. You go to that website and you're going to find information about job fairs held monthly, nationwide, in person, and a huge library of content, all designed to help veterans and transitioning service members and mil spouses find meaningful employment opportunities. All right, folks, tune in next week. Oh, wait a minute. That's Matt. Matt, what are you doing in there? Let's try this one more time. That's the joy of going live. You never know what's coming next. Tune in next week as we're joined by a living legend, the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army, Mr. Jack Tilley. He's going to be providing us with his unique perspective on military transition and life in the civilian employment market. Gents, thanks for coming. And for all the folks that joined in, thanks for being here. This is Lucas Conley for Recruit Military Live. Until next week, good luck and Godspeed.